Hello basketball coaches and basketball players. My name is Alan from Al's Basketball Training, and today I am going to talk to you about some strategies that you can use to beat the box and one zone defense. Now clearly this is a video that the Golden State Warriors needed to watch last playoff season. Well, because the Toronto Raptors destroyed the Golden State Warriors in the playoffs by using the box and one. So the best strategy that you can use is basically have more than one really good player on your team, unlike Golden State last year. By the way, as you can tell, I'm a huge, gigantic Toronto Raptors fan. But anyways, basically that is one of the strategies that you could have, which is just have one really good player. Or not have one really good player, have multiple good players. That way, if the other team decides to run a box and one, you have other options on the court for you to pass to and to be able to score with. The reason why teams use the box and one is because generally the team that they're playing has one really good player and the rest of the team is unable to shoot from outside of the key. So to be able to have strategies to beat the box and one, you have to understand how it works first. So let's get down to the clipboard and let's check this out. So first we have player one defending player one blue. The reason for that is because player one blue just seems to be the best player on the court. We now have a box of defensive players and they are guarding a zone. They are generally not even guarding the three-point line in most cases. They are usually staying within a foot of the three-point line. And then we're going to be essentially defending the key. We don't want any penetration into the key. So, for example, if player one passes the ball to player three, we will have player four move out, but he's not going to be contesting a shot. We may have player three move down a bit. We will have player 5 move across the key to protect the key, but at this point, we now see a couple of weaknesses that we can exploit. And that is, if we have players who can actually do at least something on the court, we have a player in the high post, and we have now essentially isolated player 3 to defend a massive area. And that is that whole side of the key. So player 4 is going to be standing there. He's going to be having his hands straight up saying, hey, you can't pass the ball, ha 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 ha, please don't shoot. Meanwhile, we have player 4 in the high post. Player 3 is somewhat guarding player 4, but still watching the low post in case there's any cutters. He is going to be assuming right away that player 1 is going to be cutting towards the baseline because that could get him an easy basket. However, what I like to run here is player 2 coming across, and when that happens, he may be wide open in the low post because player 3, he is looking in this direction. His peripheral vision is watching player 1 and player 4, and he's not really going to be paying probably all that much attention to the low post. He's expecting player 1 to kind of take that spot, but he is not going to. And we're going to have player 2. So if player 2 is open, he could get that pass from player 3. He can go in for that layup. However, if player 2 gets that ball and that collapses player 3 and player 4, we now have 2 players open for shots. Or if that collapses player 5 blue can then cut down the key, and that could be an easy layup for player 5. Quite literally, just reading the defense, seeing the defense that they're playing, and you can get away with this. This is not a set play whatsoever. Sure, I had it set up in a Horns offense. That's because I run a lot of Horns offense in general, but this is something that you can run. You don't have to be in a Horns offense. You could quite literally have a defense that looks like this, player 3 getting or an offense that looks like this, player 3 going down towards that low corner to draw player 4 out, which then brings players in an opening here. Player 2 can cut down across the key, and now he may be still again wide open. Or we could even have, instead, player 5 going to the low post. that's definitely going to be bringing player 5 right across, and player 2 could cut back door. This could be a lob, this could be a pass to player 5 to draw player 5 red for an easy pass, whatever it may be. There's so many different options. So this strategy is basically making one player move out of the key and then making another player defend 2 spots on the court. And that's essentially player 3 needing to defend those 2 spots and player 5 needing to defend those 2 spots. And by making zone players defend multiple spots, you are overloading that side and you are going to score more points than the other team. Now, if your players are able to dribble and pass the ball and get close shots, a strategy like this is going to help. So we've gone over 2 different strategies. One, by not just having one good player, but sometimes you just can't control that. And then the second strategy is by overloading a zone player to now make him defend 2 different zones at once, which is going to allow you to be able to win more games. Now, there is a third strategy as well, and that strategy is, hey, quite literally, none of my players are able to shoot the ball. Anywhere from a millimeter away from, an inch away from the basket and farther, they can't do anything. Now, what you need to do is try and get your really good player open, and this is one of the ways that you can do it. So for one, what we're going to try and do is go into a 5-out. Now, by going into a 5-out, these 4 players are going to be needing to stretch out. And when that happens, when you stretch out a defense, that creates lots of opportunities for you to score. So what we're going to do here is have player 1, he is going to have player 2. Now, this isn't a regular 5-out where you just pass and screen away, whatever. No, this is not a motion. This is some set plays that you can run, and very simple set plays, which is have player 1 say 5-out. You've got 5 players who just go outside of the 3-point line. And then what you're going to do is set a double screen, a sandwich screen for player 1. Whoever looks like they're setting the best, biggest screen, we're going to be then having player 1, he is going to be deciding to go on that side, which now is going to be drawing player 3 up. However, at the same exact time, we're going to be having player 4 set a screen for player 3, and player 1 is going to be using that screen. Now, one of 2 things can happen. Player 1, if he is being one of the best players on the team, he should be fast enough to beat a post player off the dribble and go in for a layup right side down the middle of the key or left side along the baseline. The other option is if player 4 is actually a pretty good player when it comes to a low post player, somebody who can hit close shots, or maybe he's just tall enough for you to be able to be happy with him being able to score close in or close up. He can roll off of that screen, go down the middle of the key. Player 1 could pass to him for a shot. That's also going to be collapsing the players onto him, and now he could then pass back to player 1 if he's still open, or player 5 could be cutting baseline and he could be open as well. So there's a couple of different options there. Now, those are 3 strategies that you can use. 1, don't just pick one really good player, but sometimes, obviously, we just don't have the option to get more than one good player. Second option is to be able to find the ability to have your team score without your best player needing to score, and that is by overloading the zone, making one player guard 2 different zones, which that just creates hassles on the defensive side, and they're going to be withdrawing the ability to run the box in 1, and they're going to be using some other kind of defense on you. And then the other option is to then allow your own player, your good player, to score by setting strong screens for him, getting him into the ability, or getting him into the spot where now he can set another secondary screen and roll, and now he's going to be going one-on-one against a slower player. Like we've seen there, player 4, he may have been able to get around player 4 and go in for a layup. Now, if you're a team that runs the box and one, you may also want to go check out my Unbeatable Basketball defense, because there's none of these weaknesses in the Unbeatable Basketball defense. Basically, it's a double team from the free throw line and below, so definitely go check that out. I hope that you have enjoyed today's video. If you have, hit that like button, subscribe, and I will see you guys again later on today for the second video of the day.